The Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases shortens quarantine days for returning overseas Filipinos. Asher Kadapan Jr. details why live. Asher, go ahead.
Jaga, the decreasing number of COVID-19 cases and high vaccination rate of the country, as well as of those included in the green and yellow list identified by the Philippine government, led to the easing of protocols for our returning overseas Filipinos.
Taas ang vaccination rate po nila doon sa green list country. Tayo rin naman po, mataas na rin po, tumataas ang vaccination rate natin dito sa bansang Pilipinas. Bumababa na rin po yung mga na-infect ng COVID.
Based on the guidelines set by the Interagency Task Force for the Management of Emerging Infectious Diseases, fully vaccinated returning Filipinos coming from green countries need to undergo RT-PCR test upon arrival and will be subjected to facility-based quarantine until the release of negative RT-PCR test result. They will then self-monitor for any symptoms until their 14th day of arrival. However, for those with negative RT-PCR test result taken within 72 hours prior to their departure, they will no longer be required to undergo facility-based quarantine and on-arrival COVID-19 test. Meanwhile, fully vaccinated returning Filipinos from yellow countries need to present a negative RT-PCR test result taken within 72 hours from departure and undergo facility-based quarantine until the release of their negative RT-PCR test result. Their COVID-19 test will be taken on the third day of their arrival and self-monitoring for the rest of the days. If returning Filipinos have no negative RT-PCR test result prior to departure, they will be required to undergo a facility-based quarantine until the release of negative RT-PCR test result to be taken on the 5th day. They will undergo home quarantine until the 10th day from arrival. For partially or unvaccinated returning Filipinos from yellow countries, they will be required to have a facility-based quarantine until the release of negative RT-PCR test result taken on the 5th and self-monitor until the 14th day of arrival. While for returning Filipinos from red countries, whether vaccinated or not, will only be allowed entry if they are being repatriated or transported home via Bayanihan flights. Currently, there are about 44 countries under the green list, which includes those that have minimal to no COVID-19 cases and high vaccination rate, while countries not on the list are tagged as yellow countries, except for the Netherlands and Faroe Islands that were put under the red list. Jago, the IATF, however, clarifies that entry of foreign tourists is still being discussed by their small working group. Its guidelines and approval will be announced by the IATF soon. Diego.
Thank you, Asher Kadapan Jr., reporting live from Pasay City.